What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be installing the TechSpec Gripster XL, the tank extender with the grips, onto my Panigale V2. This is also going to fit the 899, the 959, the 1199, and the 1299. So let's go and get into it. So what is the purpose of the tank extender? So this gives you a lot more surface area to be able to put your leg on while you're leaning and decreases fatigue. Also, when you're in a tuck position and you're in a straight and you have a hard braking zone, instead of slamming all the way into the front, this gives you a little bit more buffer room so that you're not having to, death to your balls. In the package comes the actual grip extender itself. It is a 3D printed polymer that has these rubberized inserts on the sides. 4 more pieces of grip tape. Also included is the adhesive that you're going to want to use. So right off the bat, you can see the stock tank has a lot of surface area, but not a lot of leverage for your leg to hook onto when you're leaned over. And being that I do plan on taking to the track, we're going to fix that issue. And just with anything, before installing, make sure you give this a good clean. I get any stickies or debris that's still on this bike. If you had old tank pads, get all the gunk off before you do the application. So let's go ahead and just mock it up. Because it's 3D printed, everything's really precise. It's kind of like a Lego, it just fits right on. So wiggle it around, find the spot where everything is nice and flush. All these seams, these gaps close. So once you've located the position of where it's supposed to be, they recommend electric tape and using the silicone adhesive that they supplied with the kit. This way that if you did want to eventually take it off, you can. They also recommend doing this in about 70 degrees weather. Unfortunately, I live in the Pacific Northwest and it's about 50s, 40s right now. So at least we'll be able to have this cure for a lot longer. They say to have at least 48 hours to cure before putting it to use. In the instructions, they also recommend doing about dime size dots, make them a good thickness. I didn't make them too thick here. I was being a little conservative, but I'd recommend doing a little thicker of an application, and they want them to be spaced out so that once you adhere it adheres well according to the instructions. I just got a little generous and putting more and more dots here and there. That's probably unnecessary because a little goes a long way with this adhesive. It is a soft curing adhesive, like I said, so that eventually if you do want to take it off, you could pry it off with a spatula. Otherwise, it should and will hold, according to them at least. We'll see. I'm 250 pounds. We'll see if I fall off. So now that we have the silicone adhesive on there, we'll go ahead and just put it on and find the center where it should be. We'll come around this way and make sure everything looks good. Make sure everything's nice and centered. Gaps are closed here and here. So I know they recommended electric tape, but unfortunately the electric tape started moving on me and it was starting to shift down. So I opted to go ahead and use gaffer tape instead. You don't need to push it up against it, just snug enough to where it won't move. So a gaffer tape across the bottom section, a gaffer tape across that top left wing section, gaffer tape down the middle on top. And you don't have to use gaffer tape, I just happen to have it on hand. It's nice that it is fabric based and it's not gonna stretch on you, and it has pretty strong adhesive to it, but it won't leave any residue. And then one more piece of gaffer tape on this top right wing. Let it cure for about 48 hours before actually trying to put it to the test, which for my case, I have a good couple months left. But yeah, give it a good 48 hours before you take the tape off, and then you can install the rest. In the instructions, they advise you to make dots instead of like just globbing a whole bunch on there. And I tried to figure out why. Is because in the instructions, it does say with this silicone adhesive that you want to apply it in small. Sealant should be no thicker than ½ an inch, no thinner than 1/8 of an inch. For it to adhere and cure properly, is you want them to be nickel size or dime size or whatever, just dots, globs, and you don't want to press it on too hard where the sealant becomes so thin that there's no adhesion. So that's what I figured with this. as to why they chose this. Also, they chose this so that if, in case you do want to remove it, it cures soft, so that you could essentially just peel this off, but it's still strong enough to where when you do apply pressure, it's not going to go anywhere. We'll see if that, we'll see if I don't fall off. All right, so it's been about 48 hours. Let's go ahead and take this tape off. Now that it's off, it's gonna do a quick wiggle test. That's on there. No, I'm not giving it too much force, but enough to try to pull it off, and it's on there. Now that we have this installed, let's go ahead and install the rest of the grips. The pictures, that's what it's supposed to look like, right? Pictures, it looks like this. I think it looks better like that. Eyeball it. So this is kind of a subtle before and after of exactly how much further the tank goes out, and how much more coverage you have, and how much more surface area you have to grip the tank while leaning over. Because this is what this is specifically designed for, was for the racetrack, not the street. So there you go, pretty easy and straightforward install for something that's fairly inexpensive as far as tank extenders goes. Something that'll hopefully help decrease your fatigue and increase your surface contact patch while you're leaned over with your leg hanging onto the tank. But only time will tell when I actually take this out to the track and see how it feels. So this is the TechSpec Gripster XL for the Panigale V2. Again, it's available for the same model for the 899, 1199, 1299, and 959. And I think they also came out with one for the R9. Go and check them out. I'll catch you guys later.